Quiet, can we please have quiet on the set? Hi, welcome back to another blockbuster episode of Tea with Tommy B. This episode is sure to shine bright like a diamond. We explore why some legends are better forgotten when we sit down with film director of the Powderhorn, Jeremy Hawa. How would $250,000 change your life? Later in the show, we will learn how challenges, betrayal, and backstabbing impacted contestants on Peacock's The Traitors. When we are joined by contestant Quentin Jiles, you cannot forget a snack when watching a movie or binge watching a new series. Stick around and find out what co-host Taylor Justice is preparing for us all in the tea room. All this and more on Tea with Tommy B. In the tea room, we will find co-host Taylor Justice preparing a snack we are all sure to have our Valentine saying, "You are my sweet tea." Taylor, what is that amazing smell?
Thanks, Tommy. Welcome to another segment of Cheap Cheap Meals, or for today's show, should I say Cheap Cheap Snacks. I'm going to be showing you how to make these amazing sugar cookies. But I'm just kidding. I have no clue how to make these. But I'm going to show you how to step up your snack game with these sugar cookies and a block of cream cheese. Those are the only two ingredients you need for this quick and easy meal.
That is very quick and simple, straight to the point. Wow, Taylor, I can't wait to give these a try. Is there any better way to bring art and cake together?
Well,
wait, that's not cake.
Yeah, it's sugar cookies.
Sugar cookies?
Well, today's snack, I'm going to be showing you how to make sugar cookie ice pops just made from 2 ingredients. Well, actually 3. You are going to have to dip them in chocolate later for a little extra layer of sweetness for this Valentine's Day. So right now I have my cookies mixing in the mixer right now. I'm just going to be adding a little bit of this block of cream cheese. I don't really have instruction as far as ratios, but it just depends on if you like them a little more gooey, a little more cakey. Just depends on what you like.
Okay. Well, I can't wait to give them a try. And speaking of art, when we come back, we will explore the art of the cinema when we are joined by film director and owner of Light Strike Productions, Jeremy Hawa, to learn about his new film, The Powderhorn.
You are watching Tea with Tommy B on LUTV.
I am Tommy Byers, host of Tea with Tommy B.
And I am Alexis Miller, a multimedia journalist for LUTV News.
We are here on Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C.
We want to thank you for watching our content on LUTV News and Media online platforms.
To see more content from LUTV News, like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Welcome back to Tea with Tommy B. We are here on the LUTV News Desk. Legends are better forgotten, but that is not the case when it comes to our next guest, Jeremy Hawa. Hawa is the director of The Powderhorn, a new independent film presented by Light Strike Productions. Jeremy, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
How's your day going today?
Busy day, but glad to be here.
Your ties here to Lamar go very deep. How did your connection to Lamar and your film studies prepare you for your career goals?
Well, I do have a long-standing history with Lamar. I've been teaching here at Lamar for, 10 years now. Started off as an adjunct. I'm now a full-time instructor. But as you mentioned, I also have a production company that I'm partnered with my wife, Light Strike Productions, that's been in business since 2011. And so, the working production company has always been tied very closely with my time here at Lamar University. So it's been a good marriage. Yeah, people ask you, "Oh, you're working 2 full-time jobs?" And I'm like, "Yes, of course I am." But it's a great marriage, very symbiotic. So.
And how has that production company been able to grow over those last couple of years?
Well, we've always had a good, steady, kind of upward growth with our company. I've spent 30 years now in the television and film industry, and worked in LA. I've worked on the East Coast and in Dallas, and have a history in indie film and television. And I was wrapping up production on a film in 2008, Noble Things, that you and I talked about earlier. And I was living out in LA, finishing post-production at NBC Universal when my wife and I had met. And she's a hometown girl, and I've grown up here, half my life here in Fort Worth, half in Fort Worth. And after the production ended, it was time to make a decision. So I came home and we started the company. And I think one of the benefits of what I've been doing, over the previous years before I came back, was being able to bring a little bit of a unique perspective from an experiential standpoint back to this community. And, having that time and experience in television and features has been a real help. It's been a benefit for our production company. And I feel like I've had a hand in helping elevate certain areas of production in the community and help train up and coming filmmakers and not only teach them in an academic way, but afford them opportunity in the sense that they really do have the opportunity through our company and other associates that we have to, have a real world experience, get their hands, dirty, for lack of a better term. And so I think that's been a real benefit. So I've seen a really, good, level of success that's kind of been trending up over the last few years of my students. They're getting that work, in the industry, not just staying local. They're moving out and moving on. And that's what I want to be able to, do as an instructor, as a teacher.
And speaking of getting your hands dirty, and we talked about your film, Noble Things. You were really thrown into the grind, and you were able to work with Leanne Rhymes. And
Womack.
I'm sorry, Leanne Womack. And what was that experience like?
Well, it was a great experience. Number one, it was great because we filmed it right here in Southeast Texas, and we had some really great talent on that film. It was Leanne Womack, the country music artist. It was her first film. We had Michael Parks, who is he is unfortunately passed on now, but he's a great character actor. He's been in almost every Tarantino film ever made. We had Ryan Hurst, Obi from Sons of Anarchy, and his career has just been moving onwards and upwards. He's done Walking Dead. And Dominic Swain, classic actress that's been in everything from Face Off to Lolita with Jeremy Irons. And I had the opportunity to work very closely with each and every one of them. And so it was a great experience. Number one, just kind of having those people in this area and being able to film, in my hometown or one of my hometowns was kind of a surreal experience. But I think it was a great experience for me being able to work with those actors because I learned, especially from Michael Parks, who had been in the industry for decades and decades, and get some real insight from him.
And how did that experience prepare you for your most recent film, The Powderhorn?
Well, it prepared me in the sense that, I think as you come out of film school, as you're a young filmmaker, you have your ideals about what the industry is going to be. And I think Noble Things, it was a labor of love. It was written and directed by two of my very close friends and associates, Dan McMillan and Brett Moses. And I was just getting to know them at the time we went into principal photography. And now we, to this day, remain like brothers to one another. But it's really the amount of challenges. I think it was that realization that when you're on a film set, it's just entropy in motion. You're as organized and prepared as you can be, but so many things are just fighting you to keep you from accomplishing what you're trying to do. Right. You're having to deal with so many variables. And so the amount of work that it goes into really producing, I think, a solid, good film, I think that was the experience. I was like, okay, it's great and it's fun. I wouldn't have traded this experience for anything, but allowing me to be prepared for, there's a certain amount of suffering involved with it.
And on that topic of sets and preparing, a real hot topic recently has been set safety.
Yes.
It's been in the news.
Absolutely.
So what goes into preparing a set and making sure that all aspects are secure and safe?
Well, there's a lot on any production. There's always a morning safety meeting. That's always been a standard for as long as I've been in the industry. But for the Powderhorn, being that it was a Western, involved, working livestock, trained animals, firearms, and I know everyone's aware of that specifically based on what's happened currently in the news with the film Rust and Alec Baldwin, that firearms on set are it's nothing to joke around with. In fact, we had filmed principal photography west of Austin a few months before that incident happened, and we went back to Henrietta, which is very North Texas, just south of Oklahoma, to do some pickup shots that also involved some armoring and some firearms. And we were shooting, black powder blanks and the whole thing. And we had a long discussion with our crew, not only about the safety of it and how we handle that, but we also talked very open and honestly about what happened on that film set and how, thank God it's a rarity that those, you don't see that happen more often, because in the film industry, how many blank rounds go off in a given week? You probably, thousands, worldwide based on, content and action and different things like that. But it was a sobering moment I think for the industry, and it just challenges everyone. And we were very blessed to have two great armorers on our set. Very trustworthy guys.
And that's great. You had a great set and a great crew to work with, and you had confidence in them. Real quick, where can viewers find more information about this? And can you tell them a little bit about what the background of this film is? Sure. Well, you can find it on Facebook. We have a public group page, so you can go on and add yourself. It's called the Powderhorn, and it's just the film group page. It'll keep you informed about festival screenings and news and events and what's going on with it. The film itself, right now, it is being entered in a lot of major festivals around the country. So unfortunately, we cannot do a public screening until it's gone past. That's a disqualifying thing for certain festivals. So you have to wait. So I would anticipate probably an open full public screening probably later in the year, towards the end of the year after we've made certain festival runs. Okay. But the history of it is, it's a bit of a long story. I wrote a screenplay in 2014. It's a Western, and it was optioned by a producer in LA, a gentleman named Jack Binder, who's done a lot of big films. He did Upside of Anger with Kevin Costner and Reign Over Me with Don Cheadle and Adam Sandler. Most recently, he did First Reformed with Ethan Hawke, where Ethan Hawke was nominated for an Oscar for Best Actor for that film. And Jack and I have been closely collaborating on that. And I was really, pushed in a constructive way to look at doing something, a short content, like a short form film that kind of existed in that same world. So not only is it a proof of concept of the greater story that we're trying to tell at this point, trying to get through development into production, but also further, Jack is very intent on me sitting in the director's chair on the film. And there always needs to be that answer is like, well, let's see how you can handle this genre. Yes, because the Western genre is like any period piece. There's just added levels of intricacy that goes into it, not just the historical stuff, but when you're dealing with directing actors in cooperation with animals and different things like that, it really does take up the level of complexity. So it was a great opportunity for me to kind of show that, I can handle that and definitely take the reins of it. Yes, sir. Well, thank you, Jeremy, for joining us. And you can find the Powderhorn once again on Facebook. All you have to do is search the Powderhorn on your Facebook page. When we come back, we will have more tea with Tommy B. We will also be joined by co-host Taylor Justice in the tea room to see what kind of snacks we'll be preparing for this cinematic blockbuster. We'll be right back.
If you're buzzed and doing this, to make yourself feel okay to drive,
ZWX.
you're not okay to drive.
YGKLVW. Regular you.
STEM is everywhere. Like here, behind the scenes of The Walking Dead.
When we break down clothes, we tumble it with trisodium phosphate, rock salt, and dish detergent.
We stitched together images of our model and created a 3D set that could be walked through in a VR headset.
We're able to turn 12 walkers into 1,000 walker horde.
STEM can create new worlds on and off the screen. What will you make with STEM? Get inspired at shecanstem.com.
Welcome back to Tea with Tommy B. We've mixed up all of our ingredients and followed the directions to a T. What is next in preparing these cake balls, Taylor?
Well, now is the time to scoop them out, and like the name suggests, we're gonna roll them into little balls.
Oh, nice. Oh, nice.
So as we can see, a perfect amount of cream cheese was added to where the texture is just like cake, even though we used convenient grocery store-bought cookies.
Oh, nice.
This is our next step in the process.
That's nice. Speaking of putting a stick in it and calling it done, I recently sat down with contestant on Peacock's The Traitors, Quentin Jiles. What will happen when you put 20 contestants, including reality's biggest stars, in a castle for the opportunity at $250,000? Lies, manipulation, and backstabbing are just a few words that come to mind. You recently became the father of a beautiful baby girl. What is it like being a new father?
Oh man, it's different. I used to hear people say, fatherhood or parenthood was one of the best things that happened to them. And I thought people were being dramatic or it was just this cliche saying. But honestly, this is my first child. This is me and my wife's first child. And it has literally been one of the best things that has happened to me. From being there, from, cutting the cord to, being up at night. I am very involved. And so in my household, we don't have a traditional patriarchal type of relationship or structure. We really are 100%. So we take a shift. I have the overnight shift, 12 to 4. That's Pampers, food. And then my wife has the 4 to 8. And then we kind of rotate throughout the day. And so it's changed me in that I'm responsible to care for someone else. But it is also, it's a different type of love I didn't even know that I could have for another person. Obviously, I love my family. I love God. I love my wife. I love myself. Right. But it is something extremely sacrificial in the type of love that I have for Alea. So it's the best word to describe it is different.
Different. I've heard fatherhood described as many words, and different is one of them.
Yes.
On top of being a new father, you recently took part in Peacock's new streaming series, The Traitors. How can you help our viewers better understand what Traitors is all about?
The Traitors is a diabolical murder mystery game. It takes place in Scotland, which was fabulous to be able to go live in Scotland for a month. And 20 of us are competing to win $250,000. You have half the cast, which are known faces, some Bravo celebrities, some CBS celebrities, Survivor, Big Brother, The Bachelor, which was pretty dope. And then you have 10 new faces, which is an amazing eclectic bunch, which I'm a part of that portion. We have nurses, social workers, Army vets, people, Black, white, Hispanic, just amazing people in entertainment, different various backgrounds. And so all 20 of us are competing in these extremely difficult physical, mental challenges to win $250,000 at the end of the game. And all throughout, 3 of the 20 are traitors. And they are backstabbing and murdering one of us, known as the Faithful, each night because they want the $250,000. And so it's incumbent upon the Faithfuls to figure out who the traitors are. Every day we have a banishment where we vote out a person who we think is a traitor. And sometimes we hit and sometimes we don't. And so sometimes we are banishing out Faithfuls unbeknownst to us until they are banished and they get up and tell us, whether they're a traitor or faithful. And it either gives us a huge morale boost because we finally got a traitor, or it brings us down to the ground because we just X'd out a useful number and the traitors live to fight another day. And so it is a psychological thriller that I think everyone watching is going to be glued to their TVs, from the twists, the turns, the lies, the backstabs, the manipulation, the tears, the real live tears that people are crying because it is that intense and that riveting. I think that it's going to be.
You had some very strong competition, like you said, people from Bravo, CBS, that have been in these competition type shows before, like Big Brother, The Bachelor.
Yes,
I believe was one of them. So what were the challenges like, and how did they really take a toll on you?
Yeah, well, a lot of the challenges are physical, and so physically they just take a toll. Where we didn't sign up to do a marathon or gladiator, so a lot of us didn't know that it would be extremely physical, and then some of them are psychological nightmares. Without giving anything away, there is one particular challenge in the show that involves cockroaches, rats, crickets, and all kind of things that crawl on the ground.
See, you lost me there. I was going to tell you. I was all about being on next season, but cockroaches, rats.
Rats, big rats. It's the challenges are like nothing that you've seen before, and so it takes a mental toll. It takes a mental toll on you.
Right. And before we go, I know that you were a member here at Lamar University. What was your time like here at LU?
Man, my undergraduate career was amazing at Lamar University. I had the opportunity to meet some various lifelong friends. I've had some amazing professors in the social work department. I got an amazing opportunity to lead various student organizations. I was the president of the NAACP. I was the president of the Student Government Association my senior year, and I was a student advisor in the Office of Student Affairs, which I think that name has since changed to another department. But I had a very bombastic undergraduate experience. I had a very riveting and rich social work education at Lamar University. And it really cultivated and molded that college experience molded a part of the man that I am today. And so I love LU, go LU, everybody come to LU.
And what does being a Cardinal mean to you today?
What it means to me today is, I'm going to answer that question in two parts. I'm going to say what it does for me and what it means for me. What it does for me is keep me in a very elite, connected group of alumni, being that we all went through the rigorous education that is brought there by LU. And so there are so many people that have graduated from LU to go on to do such great things. And one of the biggest things I learned at LU and being a Cardinal is the power of networking and staying connected. And so being one of the illustrious alumni for this institution has done wonders for me on a personal and a professional level. Some jobs I've gotten just based on the strength of knowing folks, maybe not even being readily positioned for it, but because I knew the right people coming from the institution, I was able to show the skill set that I have and achieve great things. What it does for me is give me a sense of pride that I was able to get an education in such a place that really had a community aspect to it. I lived in the phases, and so it brought about a sense of belonging and place, and just really, as an African-American male, set me on a specific trajectory because I was able to obtain my undergraduate degree from Lamar University.
Taylor, would you rather be a faithful or a traitor?
Ooh, you know what? I feel like it's definitely harder being a traitor, having to lie and deceive everyone around you. I'm not a good liar, so I would probably have to say a faithful because I'm good at sniffing out funny business.
Well, Taylor, bless your little heart. I appreciate that. And, some of us got to be good in life.
When did that get in my kitchen?
Well, Taylor, on that topic of being a faithful, would you rather keep the $250,000 for yourself or share it with your other contestants?
Depends. Is there that much money in that suitcase?
Well, I don't know.
Well,
that's the thing about the Traitors. You never know what's around the corner.
Personally, I've always told myself that if I were to win the lottery, one day I should, I have always told myself that a percentage of the money is always going to go to charity. Some kind of charity. I want to make sure that it goes somewhere good and then get myself another hairless cat. But if I were to be asked if I wanted to share it with peers on the show, I feel compelled to say yes, because they would have gone through the same struggles that I would have as a faithful, and at the end of the day, leaving home with nothing, I feel like it's better to do so.
Taylor, there's two things in life I don't share, and that's $250,000 and my relationship. You can see the Traitors now streaming on Peacock. When we come back, we will take a final look at the cake pops and take our final sip of tea.
You're watching Tea with Tommy B, only on LUTV.
Hi, I'm Brett Strahan, coming at you from Camden Yards, home of the Baltimore Orioles, and in my opinion, one of the most beautiful stadiums in all of baseball. Thank you for following us on all of our platforms where we keep you in the game, every game. Be sure to like us on Facebook at LUTV News and follow us on Twitter.
Welcome back, Taylor. What is the final step in preparing our cake pops?
Well, the final step is my most favorite part. It's going to be the decorating. So we're going to take one of these cake pops and we're going to dip it in this white chocolate, which is vanilla flavored.
Can you use other types of chocolate, or does it just need to be vanilla flavor?
Of course, you can use whatever flavor you like, even colors. I did see pink, but I was feeling the white today because the inside of them are pink. Isn't that beautiful?
That is beautiful. You know, it really matches for that Valentine feel.
Yes, it does. And I would like for you to be my honorary testee on my first batch.
All right, so I get to finally pop one of these cake pops and see what they taste like.
Cheers.
They were really...
The sprinkles seem a little messy on set, don't they?
They do, but that's okay.
Kitchen floor.
But what's a kitchen without a mess, Taylor?
That is true.
And before we go, let's take a look at our final sip of tea. For our final sip of tea, February is typically known for creating relationships. Relationships can come in all forms, romantic or professional. How does social media influence a relationship?
I feel like social media has kind of killed romance. You know, back in the day before we had social media, we could be in touch with everyone around us with just like the tap of our finger. Guys, like in the old movies, would have to go to the girl's house and they would, you know, be playing with the jukebox. Chivalry is dead, is all I have to say. Social media has totally killed romance, in my opinion, but that's why my husband and I always try to implement more thoughtful dates in our marriage. Like one day I planned a surprise picnic and then afterwards we went fishing.
That's amazing. That's really cute and clever. So we talk about romance and relationships, you know, between two partners. And I know like things like Snapchat, Twitter, and all these other social media platforms, they make people question their relationship sometimes, but it's good to see that you and JJ are able to still build that bond and have quality time together. On that same thing, whenever we go out in the career world, careers look at our social media. They look at who we are and what we were. So how does a career affect social media?
Is it how does social media affect a career or career affect social media?
Well, both, they can be hand in hand because a lot of times what you post on social media can influence an employer's opinion of you and vice versa.
That is true. That is true. They always say, the industry I'm going into, which is broadcast, they always say, go clean out your social media because anything that you post that might be seen as unprofessional can taint your image as a professional who's on TV that other people will see and look up to. And honestly, I agree with those rules. You don't want to be someone on TV, but then you're posting pictures of you on the weekends, you know, somewhere with a lit up sign, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, getting tore up from the floor up. I understand, Taylor. That's a wrap on this episode of Tea with Tommy B. To see more content from LUTV News, like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. We can't wait to see you next time.